We're back at the studio to film a class. I have been feeling a little sad and realized that for over a year now, this is the space where I've been doing my own personal practice and I missed it. So I came out today to do some practice here today. I've been listening to The Untethered Soul on audiobook, and it talks about releasing fear, and fear is an object. And if anyone is interested, and you haven't had a friend share an Audible book before, I can share a link for that, and you can actually read it for free. But I've been thinking about fear, obviously, a lot. Fear of losing this wonderful place that we practice in, obviously. And fear of the unknown is flying around for everyone right now. So we're going to do a practice on, releasing some fear, focusing on being with the fear. So we don't need to pretend it's not there. Yoga is not the practice of getting rid of it. It's the practice of seeing it's there, recognizing it, sitting with it, allowing it to be, breathing through it. And we're going to work through some practices to maybe release some fear, some breathing techniques and stuff. And I also have some readings prepared. My first is from Inward. This guy's amazing. I will put him in the description of the video for you guys and a link for it. But I'm going to start with this. So, take a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you. We're going to be sitting for a little bit. So, if you want to sit on your mat, if you want to sit on a chair, be comfortable. There's also, if you have trouble sitting crisscross for any length of time, you can sit on a block, place that underneath your hips, and sit up. So you can do that too. We're going to need blocks for this practice, so grab them, make them handy. If you don't have blocks, get creative. All right, so I'm going to start with this reading. So just start by finding your seat. Get a little taller in your spine. Start to land in your hips. Land in the room, land in the space. Find your breath. And give yourself permission to just be present here in this moment for this practice. Permission to put everything else outside for a moment. Let it go. Let's just be here in our physical bodies in this space for this moment. Starting to focus in on your breath. Noticing your inhale and your exhale. Inhaling, breathing in fresh. Exhaling, sweeping away things no longer needed. They asked her, "What is the key to saving the world?" She answered, You are the key. Heal yourself, know yourself, make yourself whole and free. Release all limits so that your love can flow unconditionally for yourself and for the world. This will open the heaven of your heart and it will guide you without fail. They asked her, "Why are we here at a time when there is so much misery and despair?" She responded, "Because you answered the call. The earth signaled for heroes and the heavens sent forth the ones who were most ready to grow and unleash their unconditional love. You are here to shine the light of your own healing, to offer the world the gift of your balance and peace. So let's try a little physical asana, a little breath, little practices to find our own inner balance and peace so that we can share that with others in our community. So we'll start with a little breath practice. So maybe bringing your hands down to your lower stomach, just starting to feel your breath as it comes in, allowing your breath to come down more fully into your stomach. Watching your hands rise and fall with your breath. And allowing our mind to just wonder as it wanders. Noticing perhaps that it's probably wandering a little more rapidly these days. And in yoga, we often think of these fluctuating movements in our mind. When they're moving more rapidly, it's stuck energy. It's more excessive energy in our body. So we're going to think about that and use our breath to kind of connect with that concept. So we're going to breathe in fully, breathe out fully, add a very gentle pause, and then give it another little exhale. See if there's a little breath stuck in there. So we'll do that a couple of times, breathing in fully, breathe out fully. Gentle pause. See if there's a little more. Give another exhale. Breathing in fully. Exhaling fully. Gentle pause. And give it another exhale. See if there's some stuck. Take a couple of rounds, just seeing if there's a little stuck. Even when you feel like you've exhaled fully, just see if there's a little more. Give it a little gentle push. And then just let your hands soften into your lap, wherever your hands and arms or shoulders are comfortable. And take a couple of breaths at your natural breath pace, just kind of noticing. Noticing any changes, noticing how you feel, and giving yourself permission to be present with how you feel, present with the thoughts in your mind. Be present with your emotions. Our emotions are naturally fluctuating. They're just filters for our environment. And they're supposed to move pretty freely. Only really a problem when we get stuck in them, when our head gets stuck in them. And we'll start to connect our breath with a little gentle movement, floating the eyes open if you had your eyes closed. We're going to inhale, arms up overhead, and exhale, bringing them down. And then inhale, arms up. And this time when you exhale, grab and pull down. Starting to fire up the arms and the shoulders. Inhaling up and exhaling, pulling down. Bring the arms down, flip the palms towards the ceiling. Give the elbows a squeeze like they're coming tighter behind your back. We're going to inhale, squeeze a little more. Exhale, push away. So inhale, pull. Exhale, push. Activating your arms, your shoulders, your chest. Muscles up behind your shoulder blades. And bring your palms back to the ceiling. You're making a W. Take your elbows up a little higher. And then you're going to squeeze your W behind you. So pulling and pushing. Pulling your elbows behind you and then squeezing them, slowing them down to come out. So try to find a little bit different position in your back, the muscles that you're using in behind your shoulders. And bring that down and take some nice slow shoulder rolls. We're going to take our left hand and we're going to lock it. So nice and strong, nice strong left hand. We're going to take our right ear over towards our right shoulder. Nice and tight on that left shoulder side, and then take your chin and just kind of slowly and gently play with the angle, feeling the muscles on the left side of the neck. Holding tight on that left arm. And slowly bring the chin back through center. We'll take the right arm, lock the right arm. So nice and strong, all the muscles active. And then take the left ear over to the left shoulder. Gently play with the angle of the chin, just feeling all the muscles on the right side of the neck, very slowly and mindfully. And then let that go. We're going to take our head back to center and then slowly down towards our chest. Feel the muscles in the back of the neck. And then we're going to take our head in a nice, slow, long circle, trying to feel every part of the circle to move our head. And then all the way back, reverse your circle. Chin back to center. Take your chin all the way to the ceiling. Feel the front of the neck. Take your chin all the way back down to your chest. Feel the back of your neck. All the way back up. And we'll just start to move and breathe with our neck. So inhale, center. Exhale, turn the chin. Inhale, center. And exhale, turn. Reaching back to center, we'll take the twist a little bigger, moving from the rib cage up. So inhale center, exhale twisted. Inhaling center, exhaling twisted. And bring back to center. We're going to come on over to a tabletop position. So just kind of feeling your tabletop first. Alright, excuse me, forgot my haircut. So we're going to feel a tabletop position first. Start to push into your hands, move left and right. You can tuck your toes or keep them flat, whatever feels good. Just trying to feel your hands land on the ground, feel your shoulders, take some movements. And then we're gonna sit back just a little, squeeze the stomach. We're gonna feel our fingers. So we're gonna warm our fingers in our hands. So come to your fingertips and then press a little weight into the fingertips as much as you can tolerate. Feel strong in the fingertips. If you're sensitive in the knees in tabletop, you can put a blanket in underneath your knees. Finding a little strength in the fingers. Finding your breath, staying with your breath. And then we're going to turn our hands, fingertips towards us. And then just opening up the front of our wrists. So we just land our hands on the ground and then pull backwards. So opening, pulling backwards. So you should feel your muscles along the front of your arms. And then placing our wrists down, little pressure onto our wrists, so a little weight, pressing the weight into the ground, feeling your wrists, pull the weight back off, turn your hands, so your hands are pointing out, and then add some weight. So when you're doing this, your hands should be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, if you're feeling pain, back off. Load without pain, and then turn your fingertips maybe a little bit more towards you. You may need to bring them closer to bring your fingertips towards you. And try and get to the point where you're opening up the back, your wrists. So you land, put some weight here, and then pull back. Pull your muscles up out of the ground. So pushing weight and pulling up at the same time. You can bring them a little bit closer. Try again. And then just quickly sitting back on our knees if we can. Not take an easy seat. And then we're going to take little soft, very slow circles with the wrists. I'm just thinking about places that are probably holding some tension. We're probably all being on our phones a little bit too much, or our computers a little bit too much lately. Hands probably have not had enough attention for releasing stress. Take some wiggles with the fingers, and then come back to tabletop. Now we're going to move and breathe in our tabletop, finding whatever position of our hands feels good for you today. You can have your toes tucked or not. We're going to inhale forward, and we're going to exhale back. Inhaling forward, tabletop, exhale towards a child's pose shape. And you can take this straight forward and back. You can take this more circular. Just explore, play, find which works for you today. then start to make it a little more active. Press a little more firmly into the hands and press a little more firmly into the feet. Inhaling forward, exhaling backward. And then land it in a child's pose. Child's pose can be knees together or apart. Have two fists on top of each other and place your forehead down. Or you can sink it all the way to the ground. Lots of choices. Find a child's pose that works for you. And what can you let go of? Focusing in on your breath, landing on your mat, on your space, being present in this physical moment in time. Mat to tabletop. We're going to sit up nice and strong in our tabletop. We're going to take our right leg back, even with the hip. Hold it here, lift up out of the ground, pressing into the hand, right hand, lift the left. Breathe and balance. Lifting up out of the ground. Inhale, long. Exhale, bring the elbow to the knee. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bring elbow to knee. Reach it long. Lift up out of the ground. Then lower the left hand, bend the knee on the right leg. And take little pumps with the heel up to the ceiling, finding the glutes. And then lower the toes. You press through the back of that heel, opening up the right leg.
Foot on the mat, laying on the floor. It was all fine with that.
The little pulses on and off, opening up that heel, opening up the back of that leg. And lower the right knee behind the right wrist. Setting up, so you're pressing into this right hand. Squeeze and lift this right side up out of the ground. We're going to bring the left toes in line. So we're making a big long line. If you take this foot out, right foot out, you're going to balance more. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. We're going to baby half moon. You can lift this left arm. Try not to dump into this right shoulder. Lift up out of the ground. Squeeze in this right side body. Squeeze in the core. Maybe you can even lift this top leg. Squeeze and hold. If your shoulder is tight, just bring your hand to your hip. Breathe and hold. And slowly bring that left knee back to center. Tabletop. Set up for the other side. So left leg out. Squeeze. Right arm up. Breathe and balance. Take a deep inhale, and with the exhale, bring elbow to knee. Inhale out. Exhaling. Reach and hold. Lift up out of the left shoulder, lower the right hand, bend the left knee, and then little pulses of the heel to the ceiling. Lower the toes and press through the heel, opening up the back of the left leg.
I don't know what's going on with it.
And then we're going to lower the left knee behind the left wrist. And you can move the left foot out at an angle for more balance. You're going to press into this left hand, pull up out of the ground, activate left side body, and then draw that right hip open, baby hump, moon. And then you can lift top of balance. And slowly bring that right knee back down to the ground, right hand back down, and sink it back. Child's pose. Reconnect, find your breath. One up through tabletop, connecting with the ground. We're going to squeeze our stomach, lift up out of the ground, coming to down dog. So sending those hips high, pressing into the ground with our hands. Find your down dog. It's the first down dog of practice. We can take it, bending the knees and straightening the legs. Feeling a little movement, warming up the body in this position. And then find a steady down dog, catching your breath with your head below your heart, turning your world upside down. Bend the knees, look towards the hands, and take 1,000 tiny steps until your feet are underneath your hips. Grab a block and hold on to a block here, or you can hold on to opposite elbows. Bend in the knees, finding your forward fold that works for you. Breathe. Deep bend in the knees, take a deep inhale, come on all the way up, reach your prayer up overhead, connect your prayer, and exhale, bring it down to your heart. Finding mountain pose with your hands at prayer, find your center, find your feet on the ground. Soften a little, lift up out of the ground. We'll start to move and breathe here, simple at first and then building upon it. So inhaling, just connecting our prayer. Exhaling, bringing it down to our heart, scooping in fresh. And pulling it down to our heart. Connecting with our breath. make this a little bigger. Inhaling up, bringing it down to her prayer and sinking down to a little mini chair. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Sink it down to a chair and hold it here. Settle into a chair. So finding your grounding, you should be able to wiggle your toes into your face. Get a little stronger in the core, a little softer in the lower back. Wiggle your shoulders, soften your neck and your face. Find a comfortable chair, legs are active, pull up out of the ground. Find that perfect place where there's a balance between effort and ease. We're going to move and breathe here with that breath practice from the start of practice. So we're going to inhale in, lift our arms up, reach up. Exhale, exhale fully. And then push a little more up. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. All the way out, pause, squeeze a little more. One more time, big breath in, big breath out, squeeze some more. And then come on up to regular chair, breathing in. And return to your normal breath, please. Going back to mountain with our hands still a prayer. And we'll take our prayer up overhead. You can interlace the thumbs. Squeeze all the muscles you can find. So pushing into the ground with your feet, and as if you're pulling your feet away from each other, getting really active in the legs. And then take your prayer over to the right. So right side body. I'm going to turn this way so you can see me. Taking your prayer over to the right. Really trying to open up this left side. Bring it back to center. Locked in the legs, so the legs are nice and strong. Take your prayer over to the left. Opening up right side body. Breathe. And then bring it back to center. Bring your prayer down to your heart. Soften your lower back, your shoulders. And then we'll do that same thing in a tree pose. So bring our weight onto our left leg. Bring your right leg forward. And then place your right foot on either your shin. You can place it just above the ankle, up on the shin, or if you like, you can try and get a little higher up onto your thigh. So once you catch it there, press your foot into your leg. Hold. Bring your prayer up overhead. We're going to take our prayer, right leg is up, we're going to take our prayer over towards the right leg. So really tiny movement, just opening up that left side body and balancing. Breathe.
Like it's balancing.
Yeah. The wobbles, and then come on out. So part of the fun is noticing those distractions and working with them. I'm sure everyone has distractions at home that they don't normally have. So, pretty soon we're going to be filming at the house with 4 dogs. So, you'll see our dogs running in between our mats when we're trying to film. Inhale up, recenter. Bring your prayer right back down to your heart. Find your grounding. So make a choice about where you want to be for your tree pose, and notice that left and right sides are always different on people, and they can be different day to day. So you don't have to match each side. Maybe this time your left foot is just going to come to your shin. Maybe you can bring it all the way up to the thigh, but we are not trying to work those outside hip muscles in a funny position. So not sending this hip all the way out, trying to keep this hip in, squeezed and active. We're trying to keep this whole leg active. My hands are very slippery, so you know what? I'm just gonna bring mine to my shin. Nice and strong. Bring your prayer up. Get really strong and balanced. So thinking about your lower core, bring it in, breathe, and then take your prayer over to the left towards the knee. Breathe and hold. Feel the challenge. Part of the fun thing about balancing is it's really hard to think about anything else. Challenges you to be right here with your breath. And bring that back to center and slowly bring it out. Feel your feet on the ground. How many times do we really pay attention to our feet? So pressing into the balls of your feet, taking some movements, opening up your feet. Press your feet into the ground and lift the toes up. Hold them up. Spread them wide. Wider, 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 wider. Slowly bring them all down. See if you can do one toe at a time. It can be done. I've seen YouTube videos. Alright, so pressing into the ground. Pull just your big toes up. Looking at your toes when you do it. And then bringing your big toes down, bring all your other toes up. And then bring those down, wiggle the toes. And then we're gonna breathe in. This time swan dive you down. So inhale, arms up overhead, exhale, swan dive it down to the ground. Bring the right foot back, left foot back, high plank. You can lower your knees. Breathe and hold, get really long. So energy from the toes to the fingertips. Choose any position with your hands that works for you today. The more that you change this position, the more that you make muscles in all different positions. The same makes you only strong in a certain way. Breathe and hold. And then lower the knee. Send the hips back. Child's pose to reset. Find our breath. And what can you let go of this time? Slowly come through tabletop and then lower the stomach all the way down to crocodile pose. Lower the head onto your hands, one hand on top of the other, forehead down, shimmy the hips. Breathe in and then let go. What can you let go of? From this position, slowly slide the right knee towards the right shoulder. Flex the foot. So you're making a frog leg with this foot. Flex the foot, push the heel into the ground, and then try and pull that right knee up off the ground. It's actually not gonna move. Can you move it? Can you lift it? Lift your right knee. So all you're doing is trying to fire up these glutes, the inner glutes. So try and fire up.
I can like jump it.
No cheating. Fire up. Use the outer hip muscles. Press that heel. Press the left heel into the ground. Fire up the glute and the outer hip to try and lift that knee. Fire it up, fire it up, fire it up. Breathe and hold. And then let that go. Slowly slide the knee back, even with the hip, foot up. And you're gonna bring the foot towards the glute. Maybe you can take the left hand back and grab it. So if you catch the foot, push the foot into the hand, opening up the front of the left leg. Are you looking? Can you not feel the front of your front of your left leg?
No, I can't. I was just showing you I was doing it right.
I was like, wait, what? And then let that go. Slowly release the foot. Other side. So right knee comes towards right shoulder. Right foot flexes. Press the heel into the ground. And then lift the right knee up off the ground. Pressing the heel down, lifting the right knee. Pulses at first. Trying to get that knee up off the ground. And then press the heel down firmly. Lift, squeeze, and hold. Try and lift that knee up off the ground. Squeezing the outer hip. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then let that go. Bring that knee even with the hip. Right heel towards the glute. If you can, catch it with your right wrist. And then press the foot into the hand. Feeling an opening across the front of the right leg. And breathe. Slowly release the foot if you have it. And let it come back down to the ground. And we're going to start to work the back line a little. So, lifting the shoulders, trying to keep the tension out of the neck. We're going to inhale up and exhale down. And you can press the front of the feet firmly into the ground, starting to fire up the back of the legs. You can also press the hips into the ground. You can leave the hands down, or you can start to pull the elbows back towards the middle of the back, making this more active in the arms. Bring it on up. Hover it, press the feet down into the ground, fire up the legs, and then little pulses, tiny pulses. Challenge yourself. And then bring it down to crocodile. Shimmy the hips and the legs. Find your breath. And surrender into the ground. Releasing some of those couch potato muscles in the back. We open them up and work them, and then we learn how to release tension there. So thinking about softness across the shoulders, across the lower back. And pressing the hands in under the shoulders. Tuck the toes. Squeeze the stomach like you're trying to tuck the pelvis towards the belly button. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then you're going to press your hands really, really, really wide. Press into the ground. And feel your arms and shoulders fire up. Maybe this is enough for you, just staying here holding, or take little small pulses, trying to lift the chest up off the ground. This should be very challenging. And then send hips all the way back to a child's pose. We're going to come on up to our knees. We're going to take a camel pose. So tucking the toes can help keep you balanced. So we're going to think about opening up. We're going to make a big arch in our back. We're thinking about defying gravity, basically going the back against the way of what gravity does to our spine and what sitting on a chair does to our spine. So you bring your hands, fingertips down on the back of your hips. You can draw your elbows towards each other. Squeeze the legs. Squeeze the front of the legs. Push the hips forward first. So squeezing, pushing. You're going to use the glutes, but not overuse the glutes. You want the front of the legs to be active too. Squeezing the glutes can lock in this lower back. So mindful of that, trying to open up. So push the hips far, far, far forward, and then start to send the shoulders backwards. And breathe. And you keep the tension out of the neck. So bring the chin to wherever you have the least amount of tension in your neck, where you feel you can comfortably hold this and breathe. Push your hips a little further forward, opening up a little more. Breathe. And then slowly bring your hips back down. And take a little breath. Thinking about softness across this lower back, you can bring your hands together and touch thumbs, making a little mudra with your thumbs. And slowly coming through tabletop, pressing into your hands, tuck your toes, hips up and back, down dog. So finding a down dog that works for you, finding a place where your hands are pressing into the ground and you are lifting up out of the ground with as many active muscles as you can find. Breathing with your head below your heart. Taking a deep inhale as we rise the right foot slowly up out of the ground. We're reaching it long and three-legged dog. Stretch from the fingertips to the toes. And we're going to take a giant slow circle with that right leg.
Try not to flash anyone.
And then reverse your circle. Kayla's like totally doing her own thing over there. This is what it's like teaching a live class. Your students are often just doing their own thing. And that's fine. I like that. Do what you can. Celebrate your own body. And then bend the knee.
You get 2 classes in one when I do them with you. That's my own thing completely.
Bend the knee. Bring it in towards your stomach. Hollow out your stomach. Lift up out of the ground. Breathe and hold. And then bring that right foot towards the right wrist. Find a place that you can make a comfortable low lunge. Maybe find your blocks.
My hair is all.
I know, I totally forgot a hair tie. Alright, so once you get into low lunge, find some movement. Warm up the hips. Find some space. Press your feet into the ground and pull your muscles out of the ground. And you can open up this knee, bringing it into the center, over, finding some movement. See what feels good in your legs. And your hips are probably been sitting down too much lately. So we're gonna think about the hips a little bit here. So you're gonna take that right foot and wiggle it over a little bit more to the right. Probably about as far as comfortable. So towards the outside of your mat. Press your foot down. So your toes can point whichever way is comfortable. You're gonna press the outside edge of your foot down firmly into the ground. Push down hard so that the whole outside of your right leg is tight. Your hip is tight. Work this leg. So pressing into the ground, we're gonna take the knee over to the right and then round in a little circle. Nice and slow and controlled. Making a little circle. So this should feel like work on the outside of the right leg, on the outside of the right hip. Small, tiny movement. And then we're going to bring that right foot, slowly wiggle it over to the other side. So you might need to bring the back leg in a little, wiggle it over until you can get it out to the right side, all the way out onto the left side. So your heel can be up. We're going to press this foot into the ground. So really pushing the side, right side of the foot into the ground. So now that outside of the right leg is still fired up. Pressing it down, fire it up. And then feel like you're pulling yourself up out of the ground. Little movement. So you're going to lower the hip closer to the ground and then up higher. Pulling it down and then lifting it up. This leg is active. All the muscles are strong on the leg. So lowering your hip.
Oh yeah, I got it now.
It should feel like work. Does it feel like work on the right
yeah,
hip?
I was just doing a completely different exercise.
So then, lower it down. You're going to find yourself in a pigeon pose. So bringing that right knee down, letting that foot land wherever is comfortable, untucking the toe, untucking the toes and lowering the knee on the back leg, left leg. So we're staying here in a high pigeon. I like to use my blocks. I'm going to be up high. Now, pressing into the ground. The right leg is now fired up. Pressing in. Should still feel that right hip. We're going to feel like we're pulling this left leg towards us without letting it move. Now you should feel the left front of the hip. Active pigeon. Breathing.
You know what a pigeon means? What noise a pigeon? What noise a pigeon makes? Feel free to make it. We had to pigeon class. What noise does pigeon make? No one could figure it out.
I think Kaylee's slacking over there. She can talk way too easily. I don't think she's making her pigeon work hard now. So you can stay here trying to pull that left foot towards you without letting it move. Or you can loosen this back leg a little and then see if you can bring that left foot up. And you may even be able to reach for it with your left hand. If you catch it, push your hand into your foot into your hand. So now feeling a little bit different. And if you were working that right hip, you should be able to balance this pose. What are you doing? Just excuse Kaylee. I don't know why we brought her.
Comedy.
Alright. If you have the foot, see if you can slowly and controlled release it. Bring your body back to face the front. I don't know what she's doing back there.
Laughing yoga man.
Alright, tuck the toes on the left leg. Fire it up. Press into the hand. We're going to send this right leg back. All the way back to three-legged dog. Reach and stretch. And then lower the foot back to regular down dog. We're going on to the other side. So, getting set up in your down dog. Take a deep inhale to lift the left leg nice and high. Breathe and hold, stretch that left leg up. And then take a big circle, nice and slow with that leg. As if you're trying to feel every point of the circle, like your leg is a second hand on the clock. And then reverse the circle. Reach it long, bend the knee, and bring it in towards the chest. Hollow out the chest, breathe and hold. And then lower that left foot behind the left wrist and set up the low lunge on the other side. I've never done yoga with my hair down like this before.
Not going so long.
I have no idea where our hair ties are.
Hopefully I'll look home.
Alright, so find some movement in your low lunge. Find some movement in the knee. Up. Exploring your places of tension in your hips, in your knees, in your legs. And then coming forward, setting up in your low lunge. Now we're going to wiggle the left foot over to the left. Land on the left side of that left foot so you're pressing down. Fire up the left side of the leg. And then we're going to take that knee in a little small circle. Pressing down into the foot. This should feel like work. Should not be easy. You're slow and controlled and using all the muscles on the outside of this left hip. And then slowly wiggle your foot all the way through the side. Landing on the left side of this foot. Still really strong on the left side of this leg. Press down into the ground with that left foot. Then we're going to lower the hip just a little and then back. Lowering towards the ground and back. Small movement, trying to find some muscles. Fire up on the outside of that hip. And then lowering down, pigeon pose. So allowing that left knee to come where it's comfortable. Then lowering the right knee, untucking the toes. Setting up for active pigeon, not passive pigeon. Different pose. So, pressing down, activating all of this left leg, then pushing down into the right foot and pulling the right hip forward without letting that foot move. So now right hip is active also. Nice and strong in this pose. And then maybe you can slowly lift that right knee and come on up. Strong. So you're really strong. And be able to grab that right foot. Grab it and you can come to balance. Breathe. Gotta squeeze these hips. Squeeze the legs. Lift up tall. Place your hands down. Don't slingshot that foot. Place your toes down. Activate the leg. Lift the right knee up. Press into the hand. We're going to send the left leg all the way back to three-legged dog. light. Lower the left foot down. Find a down dog, regular down dog. That's what she's doing over there. Inhale the right leg high. We're gonna step it behind the right wrist, drop the back foot down, and we're coming all the way up to warrior two. Set up in your warrior two. So warrior two, make your own warrior two. Find your left leg grounded and strong on the ground so you can push down and pull up. Find some movement in your hips. Find your grounding. Hips are open to the side of the mat. Find the place where your right foot can press into the ground and pull up, and the whole leg can be strong. And then extend from the heart. We're going to move and breathe. So flipping the palms. We're going to inhale up, connect our palms, straighten the leg. Exhale, bring it back down. Inhale up. Exhale, warrior two. Get strong in your warrior two. We're going to lower the back hand, flip the front palm, reach it up nice and tall. Opening up this right side body. Back through warrior two. We're going to look at the ground just ahead of our foot if you like. You can bring a block right there. And you're going to look at that spot. We're going to slowly creep forward, squeezing our core, maybe bringing our hand down to our block, lifting this left hip up. I'm distracted by Kaylee's noises.
My mat is talking.
The dog is not here to blame your fogs on. This is half moon, in case anybody was trying to worry about what the pose is. We're coming to half moon. Squeezing the core, lower core really tightly engaged will help balance you. Active left leg will also help for balance. Little soft bend in the right leg so that you're not locking it. Left hand can be up. And if you're super amazingly balanced in a half moon and you've done this pose often, maybe you can start to float it.
Obviously me.
And then we're going to go back as slow as we can, floating it backwards. So thinking of our transitions, bending this right knee, slowly lower the left, and land in your warrior two. We're going to pivot on that back foot, frame out the front, press into our hands, right foot meets left, high plank. So take your high plank in a different hand position. Maybe turn them in, coming over the shoulders, bending into the arms. Change your hands, change your shoulders, change your strength, breathe and hold. And then lower the knees and send it back. Child's pose, catch your breath. And then we're going to turn around so that we can do that facing the camera. So pressing into the ground, grab your block. Sending your hips up and back for down dog. This time lifting the left leg high. Bend the knee, step it behind the left wrist. Drop the back foot down. Land the feet nice and strong. And the inhale, come on up. Warrior two on the other side. So, same thing. Find some movement. Find the position that works for your hips. Opening your hips to the side of your mat. Finding some grounding, finding that place where you have the balance between effort and ease. Breathe and hold. Then we're going to move and breathe here. So flipping the palms, inhale up, exhale down. Hold it in warrior two. Drop the back hand, lift the front palm, and lift up for reverse warrior. Opening left side body. Back through warrior two. Looking down just in front of that left foot, maybe having your block handy. We're going to bring our upper body forward. Core is engaged. Until you can rest your fingertips on the block and then lift that back leg up nice and strong, an active half moon. And you can lift the right arm, you can keep it on your hip. Maybe try to float your half moon. Breathing. Hard to think about the to-do list when you're trying not to fall on your face. Find your breath. Find your center of gravity. Woo. And then bending into the left leg. Come down as slow as you can. Back to warrior two. Pivot on the back leg. Frame out the front. Press into the hands. Left foot meets right. And find a different pose for your high plank. Maybe really wide this time. Bending into the arms. Finding that point where you can challenge yourself but still breathe. And then lowering the knees, hips back. Child's pose.
Oh, I swear it's like that.
And bringing the upper body up. And swing our legs out. Make the staff pose first. Find your hips on the ground. Find your heels on the ground. Pull your toes towards you. Get really tall in the spine. Press the heels down. Push the balls of the feet away. And then pull the toes back towards you. Make the legs strong and active. Keeping the lower core pulled tightly towards the spine, trying not to cheat this movement with the torso. Lift and hover the right leg. Switch. Lift and hover the left. Bring it down. Bring the soles of the feet together. Butterfly. So getting a little bounce, a little movement. And then opening the feet nice and wide. And a little movement. And turn, look towards the left. And then maybe come a little farther away. You take the right hand and bring it across the left leg. Maybe wiggle it down a little further, a little further. Breathe. You can rest your head on your arm. Slowly come on up. Turn towards the right leg. Left arm can come up and across. And then slowly come down over that leg. And head can come down on the arm. Bring both feet in front of you, about hip width. Take the right ankle, place it just underneath the left knee. Once you're here, you can press the ball of the left foot into the ground, lift the toes, makes the leg strong. You do the same with the other leg. Then you're going to slowly creep this left foot in towards you until you can feel outside of the right hip. Might need to bring it in really far. Bring it really close. And also scooch forward. You can feel it. Activate this right foot. Pull the toes towards you. Push the knee away from you. Right knee. There you go. Got it? Got it? I see her face. She finally got it. The right knee pushes actively away from you. Left knee draws in. You can lift the toes on the left foot. Make it even more strong. Lift the ball of the foot. And slowly unwind. Take a little wiggle of the legs. Right knee up. Left knee crosses over. Nice and strong and active. So both legs are strong. Left knee is pushing away from you. Slowly pull the right knee in. You can play with the angle of the foot too. Changes the movement. And make your way down to your back. Once you get down on your back, take your feet long, your legs long, point your toes, reach your arms up overhead, reach and stretch the entire front leg, squeeze the glutes, squeeze everything you can find, make all your muscles strong. Squeeze, maybe even squeeze a face, take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, suddenly release everything. Let everything drop and soften. Just notice. Bring the soles of your feet back to the ground, knees up. Bring a little wiggle to the hips. Just try to let that natural lower back curve soften to the ground. You can even place your hands in underneath your lower back, trying to remind your back to soften here. Take your feet a little bit wider, maybe mat width apart. Let your knees soften in towards each other. See if you can find the place where your feet are comfortable. So sometimes we have our feet a little bit too close to our hips for this to be comfortable. Sometimes they're too far away. Just find that place where this is a super comfortable thing to be in, position to be in. Take your chin a little bit more to the ceiling so that you know you have your natural curve of your neck. One of the things we often do when we lay like this is we force our neck down towards the ground. So allowing a natural curve of our neck. And then take our hands and arms out even from the shoulders, palms up. Trying to allow the shoulders to soften into the ground. Allowing your breath to come a little more into our torso. Starting to release and surrender into the ground. just gonna do a couple of things for releasing tension in the neck. So, feeling our head on the ground, bring the palm of our right hand and press it onto the top of our forehead. Just allowing a little press here. And then push your head into your forehead without letting it move. Maybe start to feel some muscles in your neck fire up. Press a little harder. And then let go. Allow your chin to come all the way over towards that right shoulder with your hand still on your forehead. Feel the muscles in your neck. Trying to allow that left shoulder to remain on the ground. And then letting your hand be on your left temple. Just feel it here first. And then press your head into your hand into your head. Feel some muscles in your neck fire up. Not too much. Never work the neck too hard. Just feel the muscles fire up. Take a deep breath in. And with the exhale, suddenly release everything. Take your right hand and place it on your right temple without moving your head here. And then press your head into your hand into your head. Maybe feel the other side of your neck fire up. Press, 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 press. Feeling the muscles in your neck. Take a deep inhale. And with the exhale, suddenly release. Maybe feel a little less tension in your head, and then take your chin and your head and just kind of roll it side to side, noticing how your neck feels. Allow your right arm to kind of come back to where your shoulder is most comfortable on the ground. So allowing this right shoulder to really land on the ground, still rolling the head side to side, nice and slow. And then take your left hand, place it on your forehead. This time, really press your head into your forehead, like you're trying to lift your head off the ground, but you're not letting it move. Press, 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 press. Take a deep inhale. And with the exhale, suddenly let go. And then allow your head, hands still on your forehead. Come all the way over to the left side. Right shoulder stays down on the ground. Place the left hand a little bit more onto the temple of the right side. And then press the head into the hand into the head. Don't let the head move, just feel the neck fire up. Take a deep inhale. And with the exhale, suddenly release. Without moving your head, place your hand, your left hand on your left temple. And then press your hand into your head into your hand without letting your head move. Fire up the neck in a different position. Let it fire up, feel the neck. Take a deep inhale. And with the exhale, let it go suddenly. Slowly allow your head to move left and right, allowing your head to slowly roll on the ground, feeling the tension in your neck. Bring your head back to center and your chin up to the ceiling. You're going to place your fingertips at the base of your skull on the back of your head on both hands. And we're going to let our head just come a little bit up off the ground and then press our head into our fingertips, trying to imagine our neck getting longer, 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 longer. Feel the muscles in your neck really fire up. Find some more muscles in your neck. Take a deep inhale. And with the exhale, let it all go. Place your fingertips on the very top of your head, as if you're trying to stop yourself from getting taller. And then press your head into your fingertips like you're trying to make yourself taller. Press, 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 press. Trying to make yourself taller, taller, taller. Imagine you're getting taller from your tailbone to the crown of your head. press your head through your fingertips. Press your fingertips into your head to not let your head move. Feel some muscles. Take a deep inhale and then exhale, let it go. Kind of just checking in, shoulders, head, neck, anywhere that there seems to be some tension. Maybe taking some little movements and wiggles. And then take your feet all the way out to the edge of your mat, long. Your heels are down, but there's a soft bend in your knees. We're going to take a little movement for our spine, for our back. So, we want to try and get as much fluid movement moving as possible. So, allowing your body to land on the ground. Shoulders are going to land on the ground. Head is on the ground. Hips are on the ground. Feel comfortable. And then you're going to flick your toes. So you're going to bring your toes back and forth, a little flick. Let your head move freely on the ground. Let your body move freely on the ground, trying to get some wiggles. Noticing if there seems to be any holding patterns in the spine that stop you from moving. Not getting frustrated, just noticing, checking in, seeing where your holding patterns are, and seeing if you can let them go with a little gentle movement. Finding your breath. And then let go. Let your body just land on the ground. Notice where it landed. Notice how your feet are positioned. Notice how your neck is positioned. Feel free to adjust as needed. Maybe take a couple more wiggles to see if you can get your shoulders a little more comfortable. We're going into our final resting pose. So maybe you need to wiggle your feet out a little more. I'm going to talk you through a meditation. So Cali is going to stay. Cali is going to stay in her Shavasana, her corpse pose. Feel free to grab any blankets or props or anything that you have handy for your meditation. When we practice in the studio, we have lots of props for our final meditation. If you manage to sort out any props for your home practice, feel free to grab those now. You're going to think about loosening and softening into the ground. Finding our breath in our body and becoming present with our breath. Present moment awareness. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now with your breath. It can be very helpful and grounding to say to yourself right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. I'm going to read this passage from V.K.S. Iyengar, Light on Life. What most people want is the same. Most people simply want physical and mental health, understanding and wisdom, and peace and freedom. Often our means of pursuing these basic human needs come apart at the seams, as we are pulled by the different and often competing demands of human life. Yoga, as it was understood by its sages, is designed to satisfy all these human needs in a comprehensive and seamless whole. Its goal is nothing less than to attain the integrity of oneness. Oneness with ourselves, and as a consequence, oneness with all that lies beyond ourselves. We become the harmonious microcosm and the universal macrocosm. Oneness, what I often call integration, is the foundation for wholeness, inner peace, and ultimate freedom. Yoga allows you to rediscover a sense of wholeness in your life. Where do you feel like you are not constantly trying to fit the broken where you feel you are not trying to constantly fit the broken pieces together? Yoga allows you to find inner peace that is not ruffled and riled by the endless stresses and struggles of life. Yoga allows you to find a new kind of freedom that you may not have known even existed. To a yogi, freedom implies not being battered by the dualities of life, its ups and downs, its pleasures, and its suffering. It implies equanimity and ultimately that there is an inner serene core of one's being that is never out of touch with the unchanging, eternal, infinite. As I have said already, anyone can embark on the inward journey. Life itself seeks fulfillment as plants seek sunlight. The universe did not create life in the hope that the failure of the majority would underscore the success of the few. Spirituality, at least. We live in in spirituality, at least, we live in a democracy, an equal opportunity society. So for our practice, our meditation practice today, we'll focus on that wholeness. On the understanding that all of the parts of ourselves are just parts of ourselves. We need not run from them or hide from them or bury them. It's all just a part, integration and wholeness. It's the path to inner peace. So we're going to think about our layers. We'll begin with the easiest one to think about right now. We'll think about our emotional layer. Noticing what's present there. Noticing that it's just a layer of ourselves, that it's not the whole story. And we'll think about the mental layer, the layer of our thoughts, our mind. And take a moment to notice what is present there. Noticing that we can notice our thoughts. And then perhaps noticing a little space in between the thoughts. Checking on the physical layer. Perhaps doing a little body scan. Checking from the tips of the toes, slowly all the way up to the tips of the fingers, to the top of the head. Checking in as if you could check in with every cell, one by one. Just noticing Noticing your toes, noticing your feet, your ankles, your legs, your hips, your knees, your torso. Noticing your entire physical form, noticing the skin on your face, the tension around your eyes. You find sensation where the eyelids meet, where upper and lower lip meet. And then checking in with the energetic layer of the body. One of the easiest ways to connect with that layer is to think about our breath. Notice its constant recycling, its constant movement, even without our intention. It breathes in and breathes out. Breathing in fresh, releasing out things no longer needed. Rolling in and rolling out. And we'll take a little imaginary journey. We're going to imagine that we could become a little miniature version of ourselves. We're going to rest right in the center of our mind. And this little miniature version of ourselves is going to look up at our brain. Notice the thoughts firing around. And see them as thoughts. And this little miniature version of ourselves is going to take a little journey, as if it could slowly walk down our spine as if it were a staircase. It's going to walk down to our heart. Perhaps becoming so quiet we can find the internal rhythm, sound of our own heartbeat. Perhaps you can find your own internal hum, an unstruck chord. And then we're going to imagine we can walk even deeper down, as if we can go into the lower part of our torso, right at the tailbone. As if our torso were a deep, dark cave far underground. In the base of this deep, dark cave is a warm, cozy fire. We're going to take a seat down by this fire, curling up next to it. You feel warm and far, far away from all of the distractions. Curled up warmed by this fire. The distractions and the thoughts of the mind are far, far above. We're going to look at this fire and start to understand that this fire is a fire of transformation. Learning here this beautiful, crackling, warm fire. See the details of this fire. We're going to start to think about some other layers of ourselves. Practice the layers that we can finish the sentence I am with. We'll begin with the layer of I am perhaps our job or our student or thing that we do in society. Like I am a yoga teacher. We're going to think about that layer. We're going to gently strip it off, not to release it forever, not to push it aside, but to just place it aside for a moment. Imagine tossing this layer into your fire to be transformed for a moment. And then think about the layer of who you are in your family. I am a sister, a daughter, a mother, father, brother, uncle. Think of some of these layers. Gently imagine stripping them off, taking them off for a moment. And then come to the layers that perhaps are ego places. Some of those layers of fear that we place on ourselves. Maybe I am too short or too tall or too, often this sentence is I am too something. Imagine stripping some of these layers off, peeling them off. And then giving ourselves a little moment to think about some layers that maybe we're a little too prideful about, a little too attached to. Maybe those layers that we throw at people when we're feeling fearsome or threatened. Perhaps thinking about peeling those off for a moment. And try saying to yourself the sentence I am and see what else pops up. What finishes that sentence for you? I am. Perhaps imagining you could peel these layers off. Gently, just peel them off for a moment. Not discarding them. Or just experimenting, going under them, seeing what else is there. And then for the next few minutes, see if you can repeat to yourself, I am. Allowing this to be a whole and complete sentence. I am. I am. For a little bit longer, repeating, I am. And as thoughts or distractions come in, try to imagine them far, far away in your little cave at the base of your torso. And the rest of the world is way up there, far away. The thoughts and distractions are up in the mind. And you're rested in your little cave. I am. I am. And then gently imagine you could walk into your little fire of transformation, just like a phoenix. The fire could cleanse you. And as you rise from the ashes and return to all your layers, perhaps imagining that they feel a little lighter, a little less distracting. That you are more easily connected to your truest layer, your true self. That you are whole with all of your layers. Including us a little distress. And then gently bring some little movements to the fingers and the toes. Bring a knee in at a time and gently curl up in a little ball. Whichever side is calling to you, really connecting with the fetal position. So connecting with this pose, the fetal position, the pose, the beginning pose. Reminds us of the time in the womb when all of our needs were met. We had not passed ourselves through the duality of life and judged ourselves as negative or positive. We're simply a spark of life. We come to this pose to remind ourselves that this spark of life exists within, unchanged by our experiences. And it is simply waiting there patiently for us to connect within. Imagining softening your heart wall, connecting within, perhaps letting go of some things that no longer serve you, most especially those harsh words we use towards ourselves. I'm going to finish again from inward. They asked her, "How did you free yourself?" She answered, "By embracing my own power." And they asked her, "What does it mean to love yourself?" She answered, "It means to uncover and release whatever keeps you from true happiness, to love, honor, and accept every single part of you, especially those that are kept in the dark. It means to observe yourself continually with the utmost honesty and without judgment. Loving yourself means striving to reach new heights of self-understanding, so as to cultivate the wisdom that inner peace requires." Bring yourself up to a seated position. And though we are not in person, please bring your hands to prayer at heart space. Connect with this gesture, bringing our left and right sides to meet in front of our hearts, as if accepting ourselves as whole and complete. Wrapping ourselves in a little unconditional loving kindness. And then sending that loving kindness out into our communities, out to each other. May we know love, light, and connection. Thank you so much for sharing space with me. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Be happy. Enjoy this time.